Hi, this is a short video to show you some steps for the test day administration for Blackboard tests. We'll look at how you set test options, how you put on a lockdown browser, and how to fix some of the common problems you might have during the test. So first of all, for test options, this is after you've made the test and you've put all the questions in. But the little options you would do for the test, and it's test description, making it available to students, multiple attempts, forcing the completion, setting the timer, displaying time, and adding a password. Okay, so for this I'm going to use a mock test to show you how it would work. Here is the test. You can see it's hidden from the students at the moment. So to access the options, you click on the down arrow and go to Edit Test Options. Here you have the name of the test if you want to change. Here we have the description, the rules of the test. I've put this in when I made it. And then here there's a little box that says show the test description. You might want to show it before they enter the test, otherwise the time starts and they have to read the instructions as part of the exam time. Depends on what you want. Then you might want to check, you need to make the test available to the students. You might want to give them more than one attempt. So you might want to set 2 attempts for it, but for this test I just want 1 attempt, so I leave it blank. Force completion, so this means that the student has to submit the test. They cannot just leave the exam room and let the time run out. Then we have a timer, so you need to set how long the test is. My test is going to be 50 minutes. And auto submit, so this means after 50 minutes it's going to submit without them clicking, because otherwise it might overrun but the answers don't save. Then we have display after, so you can choose the time that the test is going to come out. So I want this to come out today, and I want it to start in the next hour. Then I want it to finish, I want it to close so that no one can see it after that. Okay. Then we have a password, so you can put any password you want, but don't put a password if you're using lockdown browser, because there's another way to do that. And then submit, and your test is ready. The next important bit of admin is adding a lockdown browser. Now we pay a license for responders to provide us with a lockdown browser, and this is how to add it, how to add a password, and how to correct any errors on it. Okay, so to put on the lockdown browser, you need to go to your Blackboard course and go down to the course management area in the black area. Go to course tools and we have responders lockdown browser. If it's not there for any reason, you need to go to customization, tool availability, and it's one of the things to tick on here. Responders lockdown browser, you tick and submit. But mine's there. So I'm going to go to that. I'm going to go to responders lockdown browser. And this was the test I was working on, so I'm going to click on the down arrow, settings. I'm going to require it. And then here I can add the password for the test. Click save and close, and now my test requires lockdown browser. So when the students use that in a normal browser, it won't open, whereas they have to open it in a lockdown browser. The only error I tend to get with lockdown browser is connected to passwords. If you set the password in 2 different areas, it can create a problem, in which case you come back here and on this bit where it says lockdown browser, it will say error or fix it, and you need to just click repair and it will fix that problem. And then the final point is problems during the test. Now there's obviously many problems, but these are the common ones I see. Username access, test password not working, audio problems, test submitted, or test submitted during the test. Okay, and it's difficult to show these problems as well, but for username and password, this is usually a problem from student services or IT. Something needs to be reset. So if the user doesn't exist, contact IT or student services and say, can you make sure this student can access? Sometimes they may have been a student somewhere else in the system and need to be made to add VETI. For the test password not working, my advice is go back, delete the password, put it back in and start again. For audio problems, if you don't connect the audio before you open a lockdown browser, you can't go back and change it. So you need to exit lockdown browser entirely, turn on the audio, check with a music file or YouTube or something, and then go back into the test. So for the final two problems, they're similar. It's basically that the test has submitted at the start or during the test. This can either be a technical problem with the Blackboard server, or the student made an error themselves. Now your response might be different depending on how many questions they ask. So your student will see something like this: you completed the test and they can't get back into the test. So what you need to just check with them is to see how many questions they answered. If they answered 0 or very few, then you need to clear the attempt. To clear the attempt, you go into Grade Center, Full Grade Center, and then you can see here that we have 0. He did an attempt. Click on the attempt. And then when you open the attempt, you have test information. You can click on Clear Attempt, and it's gone. And then in the other version, the student has submitted, but he's already completed quite a lot of the test. So you might not want to clear this attempt. In this case, you need to go into the test options. And then here we have test availability exceptions. So you need to find the student in here. Then you click submit. Then here you add the second attempt, and that student now gets 2 efforts at that test. And please note that if the student did do 2 attempts at a test, you need to check afterwards that the score is correct. So if you cleared the attempt, it will just take the 1 attempt. But if you did 2 different attempts and they answered different questions, you may need to do a manual entry of that score when you check how many questions were answered correctly. So you can get the 2 scores and put them together, but you need to do that manually. Okay, so that's how you do test administration for a Blackboard test.